Okay.
There are a lot of Pokemon ROM hacks. Like, a lot. It's a very simple game with an enormous fanbase, which makes it a target for spin-off games. While this sounds like a positive at first, it actually makes choosing a game to play a daunting task. You don't want to sink several dozen hours into a game only to find out it's mediocre. So I'm here to tell you this. Play Pokemon Clover. If I had to describe Pokemon Clover, it's what would happen if your mildly racist uncle that you see once a year at Thanksgiving made one of the most impressive ROM hacks.
That did it!
If you couldn't tell by the name, Clover is a 4chan based Pokemon game. What does that mean? It means that instead of the usual cliche dialogue, characters talk about browsing /V and drinking gamer girl piss. It means that instead of fighting boring supervillain goons, you fight Nazis, Australians, and Samuel L. Jackson. It means that the Pokemon that inhabit the world range from genuinely incredible design to this shit. I think the most convincing selling point is that every single Pokemon is entirely original. Sorta. 386 original Pokemon. It's that same feeling you get when you boot up Pokemon Black for the first time and explore a world completely different from any of the game's predecessors. It's incredibly immersive, and even though so many of the Pokemon are ridiculous, it fits the general theme. When you start
Black
off,
is completely original from the rest.
Fucking drill. Grass type, water
What
type,
way?
fire type. The three Pokemon you can choose between are Grasshole, Ejakasm, and Aerobomb. I told you it was a 4chan game. I chose Grasshole obviously because
No
grass
past
type
Pokemon,
starters are
all
always
new.
the best ones. Something you will learn very early on is that this game will kick your ass. Seriously, you can't rely on brute forcing your way through fights. The game specifically sets up several parameters that make it impossible to get through without strategy. After 4 items, you're unable to use any more, which means the usual strategy of hyper potioning your way past the Elite Four is off the table. The settings are automatically on set rather than shift, so you can't swap out your Pokemon between kills. And there are anti-grinding mechanics that make it so you specifically can't overlevel. That's the advantage Pokemon Clover has. They understand what it's like to be a Pokemon fan and change the game accordingly to influence you more towards crafting out strategies. TMs are infinite, you can use them as much as you want, and HMs, instead of clinging onto you like a fucking leech and ruining your move pool permanently, can instead be removed and replaced with any other move. This means you can swap around moves to have better type effectiveness against whatever gym leader you're fighting. Something I find certain Pokemon games struggle with is holding your attention throughout the story. There's always certain interesting events that take place, but in the end you're mostly wandering around going from one gym to the next until the game is over. This is why Pokemon Clover fills its game with really idiotic plot points. You'll come across some alien crash landing or some wacky earthbound looking city, or get thrown off a ship and end up stranded on an island. These events help draw your attention away from the fact that the game takes 80 fucking hours to beat. Clover is absolutely flooded with humor. It's what makes it stand out from most of the other ROM hacks. All the strongest opponents you fight have some goofy trait about them. One's an emaciated Kanye West, one's Snoop Dogg. I can't believe I'm about to say this word in 2022, but one is an SJW. Your two main rivals are a comically edgy emo kid and this lady who constantly talks like a 2011 goth girl. It's horrible. Some of the Pokemon you'll find will include Furnazi, Cacodemon, Orion, Potarded, Kuklan, Plebbles, Peacodon, and Gampster. But on the flip side, you've got some really convincing Fakemon that could pass as a legit Gen 3 or 4 Mon. Clover isn't just another Pokemon ROM hack, it's strange, funny, grueling, and just a goddamn epic. There's an actual feeling of accomplishment when you defeat a gym leader or rival. It's full of small gags like Darude's Sandstorm playing when you fight gym leaders, and it all culminates in a really unique charm. The game somehow feels like both a love letter to Pokemon and a direct criticism of it. I would absolutely recommend that you play this game, especially if you already like the Pokemon franchise. Okay, now I'm gonna shit on it.